It is a fast-acting viral strain that infects the host immediately, and upon getting sick, the infected will become racked with coughs, sweat profusely, and start to get the shivers and chills.
There he is, the legend. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. You can't literally run a promotion just for the AEW, what do they call them, sickos?
Thank you very much, TikTok and AEW. See you tonight.
Tony Khan started telling people there's no such thing as long-term booking anymore. It's week to week.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
We just secured the bag.
It's not like I tried to be a character. It was just sort of happened naturally. But it was never something I intended. It was just something that happened because the wrestlers asked me to do things in matches, and I do them.
If you run a promotion just for the sickos, you're going to do 400,000 viewers eventually.
Mother effing melts.
You know that SmackDown actually went over and everything?
Yeah,
You know,
that's the point.
the point of SmackDown.
What are you getting at here?
That the DVRs didn't pick it up.
Did they not pick it up?
Mine didn't.
Let's get into everybody's favorite moment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week.
What would you like to listen to in your ears?
I'd like to hear the flute.
Well, if you'd like to flaunt your flute, then we can find you a flautist.
We just secured the bag.
It doesn't help me.
Okay, so complain, but
I will complain.
Let me have my misery.
And when I heard that, I was like, what?
Thank you, fuck you, bye, boom.
You got to run a promotion for everybody. The sickos can be the ones that buy tickets first and spend the most money on the merchandise.
Because we just secured the bag.
But, like, you got to promote for everybody. Then you'll have a lot of viewers.
I think we proved a lot of so-called experts. We made them look like idiots. We're not going anywhere. Tony Khan's not going anywhere.
You'll also be there on TNT. You'll be in 2 places at once. You'll be like my favorite movie. Time Con.
It's not like I tried to be a character. It sort of happened naturally.
the best guys, Tony Khan.
To keep themselves safe.
What's happening, you guys? I am Phil Marks. Happy Halloween. Really, I just came live so I could sing you guys Thriller. So get it. Just kidding. How you guys doing? Hopefully we ran off those of you who don't like my sense of humor. Okay. A few of you in here. We're here for a good time, not for a long time. I saw someone suggest in the chat, oh, the show should be called Hot Tag. No, I think that's what we're going to call Jake's little thing. I already thought about all that. I do the run-in. He does the hot tag. And speaking of which, hot tag over to Alt Jake, who's going to join me here for a little bit today. Alt Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Yo, hey, I like that. Coming in with the hot tag. No, that's smart. I like that a lot.
Yeah. That'll be like when you get to your quote unquote run-in show level. Yeah, it'll be called the Alt Jake, the hot tag or whatever. But like either way, we're not here to fantasy mark book the future. We're here just for a little bit. I don't got a whole heck of a lot of time. I like to do a lot on Halloween. Are you a big Halloween guy, Alt Jake?
I used to be. The older I get, the less I am. I live in a condo complex, and I really wish there's some more kids starting to come around. So I've got a little candy just in case. But
see, the older I get, the more and more I regress into. Ooh, I love Halloween.
Well, I think it's just because I used to do I live close to Vegas, so we used to do Vegas for Halloween. Now that is a fun time. I used to do. I did a couple different years where I was the old Dos Equis guy. I have a beard, so I would just spray the beard gray and put a suit on, carry around a bottle of Dos Equis. The second year, I had a koozie of Dos Equis. It was the best, easiest costume ever.
Well, I actually have a surprise. It's actually Tony Khan here today at PWT, and I went as Phil Marks for Halloween. Isn't it great? Dad gave me money for a new suit. It'll be amazing.
You're not doing Orange Cassidy again, Tony? We thought it was going to be Orange Cassidy for 3 years running.
I'm actually Tony Khan as Orange Cassidy as Phil Marks today here on PWT Run-In Show. Guys, yeah, as I said, we're here for a fun time, not for a long time today. So I don't know how long this is going to go. Not a couple hours for sure. We're talking like an hour, but either way, I got a lot of juice, and we're just going to have some fun. It's Halloween. I got a couple little treats for you. And what do we got to plug here? You can follow Alt Jake over at alt_Jake2. You guys know where I'm at prowrestletimes. YouTube.com/@prowrestletimes. We're almost at 1,500 subs. Please run those subs up. YouTube.com/@prowrestleclips. We're almost at 5,000. So please just share this shit around. Yeah, dude, it's getting there. It's amazing. It's literally been life-changing in so many ways. I feel like a responsibility now to you sickos. And it's good. It's good. I'm having a blast. And Alt Jake YouTube channel coming soon. Also on patreon.com/@prowrestletimes. If you like hearing me and Jake hang out, we're hanging out watching like Tough Enough season 1, episode 1. It's like an hour-long video. I'm uploading multiple times a week. We're watching Botchamanias and stuff. So consider just supporting, or becoming a member for 99 cents or gifting a membership or something like that. And while I have your attention, let me talk to you about SaveWithConrad.com. No, Plenty in Pixel Art, though, for $10 says just here to help Phil secure the bag. And I appreciate that very, very, very much. That's great. I also, though, man, I love Halloween. And I was like, you know what? I got an hour to kill. I'm either going to record some fucking Xbox stuff because PWT Games coming soon, a whole different channel as well. But I was like, I should either record some of this or I should just hop on and do a run-in. And I was like, you know what? Let's do a run-in because this is Halloween. This is Halloween. If you guys can't tell, I'm excited and may have had some sugar. Ezra Dober for $3 says, I'm going to make a slowed down version of the flute. Do it. Email it to me, prowrestletimes@gmail.com. I welcome all emails.
And all flutes. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, and all flutes, especially flute oriented things. And thank you very much. I will acknowledge both of you, and then let's just jump into the juicy.
Acknowledge me.
Let me check out chat. So guys, if this is your first run-in, this is sort of like a member show. This isn't PWT live show. I more or less talk to the chat. Sometimes we'll do AMAs. Sometimes we're going to do little mini watch-alongs like we're going to do right here because I know the good folks at Grapple Vision a little bit, and they won't strike me for what, so I'm not going to do this on Patreon. You know what I mean? Do it right here on YouTube, and we're going to check out some Grapple Vision videos. I watched a very long 3-hour-long Cody Rhodes interview on Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz and Akash Singh, and typically, I don't know, I find those guys kind of cringe, but this was cool hearing Cody because they're casuals. I love watching wrestlers be interviewed by casuals for whatever reason. It's a thing I like. And Cody just blew them away. He gave such a stellar interview, but I extrapolated like 3-4 really good points. And I just want to cover those that I threw into Phil Marks bookmarks really quick. Also, guys, don't forget Saturday, Crown Jewel watch along, and also the cutoff day for the PS5 video game and t-shirt giveaway. There's a 3-tier giveaway, so only members come November 2nd as well. So if you become a member after November 2nd, you're not eligible. The reason we do that is just so that we can accumulate the names fairly, right? Like we don't want a last minute guy join and we miss your name or something. You know what I mean? So we have to do a cutoff date. The 2nd's the cutoff date. Memberships are 99 cents. I'm not selling you guys blue chew, right? I will, but I mean, right? Just if you guys become members, I don't got to do that shit. So anyways, let's get into the thing. I appreciate you all, though. Happy Halloween. Hey, guys, just woke up for the running. Excellent. Tony dressed up as Time Cop for Halloween. Yeah, and the mole said that, too. He said he's going to be fucking Time Cop. It's so funny how right the mole is all the time. I'm not going to speculate on who the mole is, even though it's fun. But yeah, I'm pretty intuitive, guys. I'm kind of like zeroing in, I feel like, but that's a whole other show for a whole other day. So I want to talk about Cody Rhodes a little bit.
Nice.
So, yeah, let's do it here. Are you familiar with the Flagrant podcast, formerly the
A little bit.
podcast?
I'm kind of in the same boat as you were. Like, I've seen some decent stuff with him, but not as much. I didn't know he did a recent interview, but I'll definitely watch that. I'm a big Cody guy, which is still surprising to me. I was not that excited for him to come back to WWE until he showed up, and then from that moment on, I've been all about it. Like, it's been a great run. It's been fun to watch.
Hell yeah. Well, this was a decent interview he did. I really enjoyed it. It was, it was like 4 a.m, and I'm like, I'm not sleeping. Let me just let me just watch this for a while.
He's so good at these interviews too. He's the perfect face for the company of the guy who wants to do it all the time. Like he does every interview because he's great in all of them.
Yeah, man, and he carries himself really well, and it's cool like seeing these guys mark out. So actually one tweet that I don't have pulled up here that I will on the other screen. When I was watching this interview, I just I had to tweet this out where let me see, what did I say here? Sorry guys, there was one I just forgot to pull it up before. I go, Cody Rhodes on Flagrant podcast is perfect because they start off by saying we're casuals. The Vince documentary was insane. I feel like I missed out on 20 years of culture. It was mind-blowing television. And we all saw the doc and we were just like, whatever. So to casuals, man, that was like mind-blowing, mind-bending stuff. And yeah, I love seeing like Cody explain the business and stuff to just dudes who are casuals. But they had a really good, what impressed me was the hosts had a really great understanding of just like wrestling in general, as far as, I don't know. And they're just like, the storytelling is the most captivating part. Like I could do a flip, like Andrew Schultz is saying this. I didn't even know he knew anything about wrestling. And he's like, I could do like a flip, he's like, but to me, that's not as compelling as, storytelling and these sorts of things.
Always.
And Cody's like, yeah, Cody's like, right, exactly. Like that. But anyways, though, these are things I extrapolated, and some people had some comments and responses, so I just want to talk about it. So I wrote, Cody Rhodes said at the first All In, Rey Mysterio was late getting to the ring because he was taking pictures with wrestlers who couldn't believe he was there. So infamously, the pay-per-view went over time, or like it went to the wire. And the last match got cut for time. And if you guys remember, Rey Mysterio, like they played his music for so long that genuinely as a fan for a second, I was like, they're either milking the shit out of this or he like no-showed them or something, like what happened? And yeah, man, it turns out like every wrestler was just running up to him like, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Yeah, because they couldn't believe he was there.
Marking out.
Yeah, that is hilarious. But like in a good way, like that's like
absolutely
hilarious and cute, dude. He also said that him, Kenny Omega, and I should have added more to this because he was very stern on this. He was like, he said, he's like, one thing that frustrates me is everyone has a different story about this AEW thing. He's like, that's one of the things that really frustrates me. And he says, him, Omega, the Bucks, and even Jericho all have different stories about who is in the driver's seat and who should take credit for spearheading AEW with Tony Khan. So what do you think about that? Sort of confirming like there's more too, but that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's not surprising that he said that because he got, what was it with, he did that interview with Chris Van Vliet where he kind of, where he like said similar stuff where he's like, if I have to be the enemy, like fine, but you can tell it really bothers him because he tries to be truthful as he can with a lot of this stuff, and he's never badmouthed anybody, and it feels like, I mean, even if it's like underhanded and like backhanded, there's so many shots taken at him and his wife, and you can see that's when he gets pissed. He's like, talk about me all you want, but don't talk about my wife. And as a married man, I can appreciate that. I respect that.
Yeah,
talk
for
about
sure.
Me all you want. Don't talk about my wife, man. Not cool.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Family's off limits unless it's family talking shit. But Jake, he even said, he's like, I can't wait till everyone's own books come out and we get to read the different versions of it. And it's like, and then Andrew Schultz said it's like The Dirt or whatever, that book where each member of fucking Motley Crue or whatever wrote their own version of the same story, and they're just wildly different, you know? And so Cody's like, yeah, there'll be a bit of that. But yeah, he also did say that like Tony did have the vision for it. Like he had written Dynamite on a piece of paper like a long time ago, you know, and he did give credit to Tony Khan. So
that seems
Cody
to be the
Rhodes
one consistent in the story is that it is Tony, but it's who was with him and doing what.
Yeah, and like what was the real catalyst. But Cody Rhodes continues on and says that Brandy Rhodes never had beef with Tony Khan, and he did re-sign her. Like people were saying, oh, he re-signed Cody, Tony re-signed Cody, but wouldn't re-sign Brandy. There was that rumor. There was rumors that like Brandy didn't get along with Tony. There was rumors that what else? Whatever, just so many different CM Punk. There were rumors that like CM Punk fucking like coming in. Cody went, oh no, I'm out of here kind of thing, because he knew about it before. But no, he just Cody says that Brandy never had beef with Tony Khan, and he did re-sign her. They were re-signed. They could have went to he even said, he's like, I could have went to AEW. I didn't even after I met with Vince. He's like, I never even had to like really, I could have mended that and made it okay and just had the comfy job there, you know? He's like, I didn't even think I was going to go back to now, who knows if he's kayfabing or not there, but he says, I didn't even know I'd go back to the Rumble 100%. Even after I met with Vince, it was just basically like, or not the Rumble, pardon me, WrestleMania. And it was all predicated on one match. Sorry, I was thinking the Rumble because he teased the Rumble when he was in AEW. But anyways, it was one match, Seth Rollins, this amount of money, and you're going to be there for 3 years, but like no contract. It was just basically like, here's what's written on a napkin, and like, you're either going to do it or not, pal, or go back to that shithole with that mark. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they were even the reality show was renewed for season 2, and that the Go Big show or whatever that shit was with Cody Rhodes on it, where he was a judge with Snoop Dogg. Apparently, like him leaving sort of like kiboshed that show too, or I don't know if they just replaced him with a different judge. But yeah, he could have been he was like gonna be a judge on that show, so he passed up like a lot of money too, to kind of go back to WWE. And he said that he's like, it wasn't even monetary, it was more like I saw the writing on the wall, kind of what we've all speculated. But so he goes on to say things got, and these are his words, icky between the Bucks and Kenny and him. So he decided to leave to preserve the good memories he had with those guys, like at the start of AEW and before. And I said, very telling in my opinion. And
weren't the Bucks like faced? Didn't the Bucks get like blurred out in one of the scenes in the Roads to the Top show? I remember them being like in the background. There was two people, like their faces were blurred out, and people were saying that was the Bucks. And then I think that's why they did that All Access show, because TBS or TNT had them booked for a reality show that was going to be season 2, and they did the other thing, which nobody else watched.
Yeah, shout out Kenny Omega, who was like, I ain't being on any of those shits. Dude, he wasn't. He was like, I'm not being on none of that shit. You just see him walking in the background when the Bucks are just marking out for themselves and shit. That's what the Bucks do, bro. They sit there. I'm gonna do a 10 minutes of Young Bucks video. I'm gonna do it. I gotta do it. It's just like mind numbing to go through that reality show again. Dude, for real. But the Bucks sit there and like mark out for themselves in front of literal empty fucking buildings where the crowd's dead as shit, and you're just like, wow, these guys really, but anyways, though, things got icky with them, and that's very telling, because I don't know, man, he literally said like he would rather preserve the good memories he had with them, like at the beginning and before, then let it go. Like that's sort of why he left, instead of like let it get to a level where I guess he couldn't like respect these dudes, or a couple of these dudes, or who knows, man. But that's pretty, I don't know. I just found that very interesting. And I believe there were responses to this. He goes, I have no clue what to believe, because Cody previously said he had no issues with the Buckaroos and Omega. Well, let me elaborate, Dan Brown 0531. He doesn't have issues with them because he distanced. But he's basically confirming here, like, if I had stayed, there would have been issues.
Yeah.
It was getting gross. Icky. What else does icky mean? Right? What's a synonym for icky? Like gross, disgusting, I don't know. Volatile, I don't know. So it was icky, bro. And yeah, so believe what he's saying now because it's consistent. He's not saying he had a problem with them. This guy says it's sounding like one of the old rumors may have basis in fact. Story was he and the Elite were on different extremes of how AEW should be booked, and that Tony sided with the Elite. That's super evident. He sided with them over CM Punk as well. Ratings show Tony should have listened to Cody. Cody breathes pro wrestling, Bucks choke on it. Yep. This guy says here, Calm Viv says, after a few years, we finally found out that Bucks and Kenny contributed to him leaving. So much for everyone blaming Punk in a situation. Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm not saying like, oh, it was all Kenny. It was probably more the Bucks, but then Kenny's going to be with the Bucks no matter what,
He's lumped in with them.
Yeah. So it's how it gets. That's why it's icky. That's how you describe it as icky, But anyways, he also goes on to say, and I thought this was very interesting too. He's describing his dad and how his dad, well, he's telling stories about like wrestlers would always just find a reason to like get their shirts off and get a tan and get their clothes off. He's like, even if they didn't have the best physique, and then they sort of get into the conversation of, body shaming or whatever. It wasn't even it was just like a brief sort of moment within the long interview. But Cody Rhodes also says that he thinks it's weird, and he says it's weird. Wrestlers and fans are offended by body shaming. And he's like, dude, I think we have a problem with effort shaming. Like, people try hard at things and people want to tear them down, whether it's getting in shape or, becoming world champion or whatever. He's like, but at the end of the day, there's a certain level of, he's like, and people might say, oh, you're being old school, Cody, da-da-da. He's like, but you have to take and that's his own biggest criticism. He's like, when I was Stardust, I should have been like getting in the best shape of my career and working towards that. He's like, but I was just mad and not voicing things and getting resentful. He's like, you can't do that. He's like, you just get in the best shape you can and do what you can. And he's like, but anyways, he goes, it's weird that people are offended by body shaming wrestlers. He said he finds it weird that wrestlers get offended by this too. He calls them out and he goes, he says that fans pay hundreds of dollars to see them fight with their shirts off. And it's ridiculous to think fans can't comment on or criticize what people look like, especially them. And, this guy here says, Jason says, I'm in no place to body shame anyone, but we should expect a professional athlete to look like professional athletes. And exactly. I said, that's what Cody said, because he did. And I went, yo, a guy pumping gas doesn't got to look like anything, but when he slaps his money on the table to see athletes, they better look their part, So I don't know, man. Yeah, Cody Rhodes keeping it real, though, whether you agree with him or not. So yeah, that's what I extrapolated from that. And I don't know if that's a shot at Adam Cole, but I don't know, a bit of a callback to last night's live show with where Awful popped on. And it is, but yeah, so round of applause, I guess, for Cody Rhodes on the Flagrant podcast, guys. Him keeping it real about AEW and him leaving, and the state of, I think, some of the wrestlers where, I mean, and he said what I say all the time too on this show. He said it. He's like, we hold each other accountable in WWE. Everyone's checking in on each other's fitness. And it's like, we're all helping each other be the best right now and stuff. That's not going on in AEW. No. So there might be like different cliques of that, but that old cliquey style is, that's why WWE's thriving, is because they,
everybody's got a similar goal. They're trying to push everybody forward. It's a big difference.
Yeah. So, guys, I want to hang out for a bit and play with you guys some Grapple Vision videos because they get spooky. We're gonna, when wrestling gets real. Are you familiar with Grapple Vision by any chance? Yeah.
I've watched a good amount of these when wrestling gets real.
Yeah. So some of these
a few times.
Yeah, so whenever I've EFAP'd his stuff, he always just comes and like leaves a nice comment and stuff like that. So shout out Grapple Vision, or them, the people over there. And yeah, they do this when wrestling gets real series, and it's, you know, the little blood font, it's Halloweeny, and they have all of these crazy videos like the toxic modding community. I'm gonna start EFAPing a bunch of these with you guys, because a lot of them, like the Plan B tape, where a bunch of wrestlers that even like Jim Cornette will put over as some of the realest in the bit, they all made a tape exposing the business, and they were gonna drop that shit to get ahead of that. It's the craziest story ever. It's the craziest. But Grapple Vision made a mini doc on it. Are you familiar with that?
I don't think so.
Plan B tape. So these wrestlers, like a bunch of them, I could start naming names here, but I'd have to refresh my memory. But it's like, pretty sure Macho Man was one of them. Like a bunch of them exposed the like wrestling business. Like back in the day, they made a tape that actually got out there, where they were all like, no, this is fake. I do this. This is how you blade. And this was to get, I think they were going to like try and unionize or get ahead of that one dude who was going to stooge the business, but it backfired on him or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember, but we'll go over it on these run-ins. That's what these run-ins are for, because it's exactly that. You know, the show, I want to be like topical and relevant, and it's the late night show, but this is just like, we're hanging out, we're watching shit. So we're gonna do these backwards. Now, we're not gonna watch this whole 33-minute one here, because I've seen this one before. It's a lot of it is I believe Yoshitatsu. Yeah, right here. It's him like explaining for like 20 fucking minutes in like broken English how he had heat with some dudes. But we are going to watch The Legend of Vordell Walker, the Wrestling Gets Real 40 special, where he gets in a shoot fight, I guess, with Rick Steiner, who was all washed up at the time. And then, we'll do this Umaga versus Steve-O, Yoshitatsu. So this Wrestling Gets Real series, it's when like real shit breaks out in wrestling matches. There's 40 episodes of it. We're going to watch a few of these here. Couple of them at least, and you guys strap in. Shout out Grapple Vision, and happy Halloween. And this is like a little taste, Daddy Magic taste. Obviously we EFAP stuff on the show, but like this is sort of like also on Patreon. Dude, we watched the whole first episode of Tough Enough. How fun was that, Jake?
That was so much fun. Oh my god, that was such a great throwback.
Dude.
I couldn't get over the fashion. The double necklaces and the puka shells. Oh, it was great.
Oh, it's such a throwback, man. The style, the fucking the guy doing the Moose gimmick before Moose.
And then like Josh Matthews was just being
I
know,
dude. Oh my god, you guys have to watch it, man. Like it's just little things you forget. Matthews was just a little shit. So funny. Anyways, it
was great.
So shout out Grapple Vision. Go and subscribe to them too. They're amazing. That clip there is Matt Bourne and Jim Duggan shoot fighting when they're both like in their 50s.
Yeah, Duggan talked about that on the Dark Side episode.
Yeah,
they show clips of that.
The infamous. And then of course the mass transit.
Yep. Inoki when he beat the crap out of that guy.
So he uses like an AI.
If you have only been watching television for the last several years, you may be under the impression that the Steiner brothers are just a couple of nice old fellows who ran a Shoney's and are now watching their next generation come through the sport.
Yeah, so Rick71 says Phil the tape was that the wrestlers were exposing the business featured Bob Roop, who I'm pretty sure would like stretch dudes for a shoot if you fucking challenge the business. I'm like 90% sure on that. Ron Garvin, Bob Orton Jr., and Boris Malenko. Savage wasn't on it. Thank you for the correction, but dude, Boris Malenko and Bob Orton Jr. and Bob Roop and Ron Garvin. Dude, we're all exposed the business on this tape. Like, those are all names Jim Cornette would go, those are the realest guys. They'd really twist you up. You know what I mean? And like they all made a tape and it's out there, dude. We'll watch it on the show. But yeah, it's an AI Jesse Ventura. Before the thermite paint. So yeah. Wait, Scully vibes. Cody finally came out about AW. Yeah, I just covered it. You go back, check that out, and run the likes up. 150 of you in here. It's a Halloween. Give me a little treat. A little trick or a treat. Run that shit up to 100, please and thank you. And yeah, let's keep going. The Hall of Fame induction here, obviously.
Two guys who run the show.
However, if you have been paying attention for a few years, you have possibly heard a few stories about the real Steiner brothers.
Yeah, notorious tough guys with beat dudes' asses.
Great Rivers.
I love them both to death. We're super friends, but bully wise was your Steiner boys, the Steiner brothers. They just every time they came by and they hit you or they put your hand down your neck, and they didn't realize how strong they were, so they were hurting you, But they didn't mean that. They weren't like bullying. They were just playing, but it was always.
They were just playing when they dropped me on my neck and stiffed me in the jowl. I met Rick Steiner at a local show, and I swear to God, he asked me for math with an E. I ate dinner with him and Ray, and it was awesome. Jesus. That's crazy, Mike Saucely's. Damn.
Something, I mean.
Math with an E.
Yeah, it took me a second.
Math is a wonderful thing. Math is a really cool thing. Oh my God.
The brothers had a reputation like no other, striking fear into basically everyone, but mostly the enhancement talent of the time who dreaded their name being drawn to face the team. Mick Foley had such an experience.
And I'll admit, when I walked into Center Stage Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, I was under the assumption that I was in line for some type of promotional push from the company. So imagine my surprise, even my horror, when I looked at the chalkboard that listed that evening's events and set to do battle with
the Steiners.
The Steiner Brothers. Rick and Scott Steiner were like animals.
Oh God, yeah, dude.
You
just see them dropping dudes on their fucking necks.
The rest of
oh my God.
I feel my heart sinking in my stomach. This was a move I would later go on to see 4 or 5 other grown men make when they saw their name on that same chalkboard with a different wrestler, a wrestler named Vader. I'm talking about the Vader, who made grown men look at each other and go, I don't think this business is for me, Joey. And I would watch, being an observer of people, I would watch at the tiny window at Center Stage Theaters. They took that long, lonely walk across Peachtree Street, their gears slung over their shoulder in the days before rolling bags. It's a long time ago. Never to be seen or heard from again. And that's the type of decision, a career-making decision I was on the precipice of making when I heard the voice of one of my saving graces in that room. I was so lucky, fortunate to have 2 saving graces in that room on that night, the first of which belonged to Kevin Sullivan, a member of WCW's booking committee, one of the greatest minds this business has ever known. And I just heard that voice. He said, brother, what's your finish? Now, finish is wrestle speak, or finishing move, or finishing hold. I just seen my name on the chalkboard against the Steiners. I was under the impression there would be no offensive moves.
That's funny. Fucking Mick Foley, dude. He's just a good storyteller, You're just sitting there locked in. This from his show, obviously, too, like his one man,
For Mrs. Foley's baby boy, let alone one so impressive it put an end to Rick or Scott Steiner. So without thinking about it, just kind of blurted out, I drop an elbow? And he looked at me in disbelief. He said, an elbow for your finish? Should be pointed out without further explanation. An elbow drop for a finishing move sounds rather weak, benign, borderline Hogan-esque. could have been a little bit nicer to me. They were pretty tough on Mrs. Foley's baby boy. No offensive moves.
Foley escaped the wrath of the brothers that night.
But unfortunately, America didn't escape the wrath of terror on not. I'm so sorry, guys. I have to fucking.
But many were not so lucky.
What had happened?
I am fucking autistic. No, not really. I cannot help it. Probably got a touch, dude. You know what I mean? For real.
Just a touch.
Yeah, just a touch of the
on
tiz.
the spectrum of the spectrum.
I saw that on a show. Yeah, touch of the tiz, they called it or something. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Sorry if we're it's Halloween, guys. It's all jokes. I'm actually Tony Khan. Remember, dressed as Phil Marks.
Is that I didn't know this. He later told me because I was like, bro, why were you being so stiff? And this is true. If you watch a match, you can see it is true. Shane Douglas is supposed to do a run-in, and for some reason he came out late, and so Rick.
Yeah, Mike Saucely's. We do believe you. I believe you. I 100% believe you, bro. Wrestlers are wild. Okay, that's a pretty tame story from some I've heard. You know?
Right? Especially wrestlers from that
just
era.
kept hitting me.
Yeah, exactly. Wrestlers from that era, Jake. You're spot on.
Yeah.
I actually thought he might be stiffing him, and I actually asked him as a shoot. I said, because me and Bischoff had some heat back then too, and Bischoff had also made a comment once to me and Billy Kidman. In time, I was so mad at you guys. You know, I was thinking of having some people just throw you into a room and turn off the lights and beat the shit out of you. And I was like, God damn. When Bischoff told me that, in the back of my mind, I was now thinking all the time, fuck, this guy might ambush me one day or some shit. In the back of my mind, I just thought Eric was behind him, and I go, did Eric tell you to do that to me? He goes, no, bro. And if he did, I wouldn't have done it. He goes, we don't have no heat. So as far as I'm concerned, we didn't have any heat, because before that, me and Rick had never had words, never had nothing.
Rick had a long-running reputation of simply beating up whoever he wanted to in the ring if he felt things were not to his liking in any given match.
Dude,
similar
skipping the shit out of Conan there. Just, dude.
How people do Haku today. Rick Steiner was seen through the 80s.
Jack these dudes were, man. I don't want to hear anybody talking shit about steroids or like Vince was giving steroids. No, everyone was taking them, bro, back then. It's crazy.
And early 90s. He was simply never to be messed with. And unlike the Tongan he was compared to.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Dude, that's a big guy, too. Look at that.
He was simply never to be messed with.
Look at
and
this.
Unlike the Tongan he was compared to, Rick would often take many liberties with his opponents. And unfortunately, far more than the beatings in the ring.
Would you consider being taped to a table and having a pencil stuck up your ass?
I call it a Thursday night, but
I call it.
So Rick Steiner taped a wrestler to a table and put a pencil in his ass. That is, bro.
You what?
Come on
It's
now.
a little,
yeah, it's a little intense, bro. What is this? Jesus.
This thing goes down and fucking Robbie sticks a pencil up this fucking guy's ass. And I looked at him, I said, did you know that's a felony? That's sodomy. I said, I'm walking out of here because I don't want to be in a deposition.
now who would this be? I know, just another wrestler, a job guy, or Mel Phillips. Who?
Fucking, it could be anybody. It could be a top guy. I've seen fucking Lex walk into Augusta TV all fucking jacked with cowboy boots, and fucking Steiner walk behind him, kick his feet together, fucking watch Lex do a fucking back, and nobody would fight him.
Right.
You know? I mean, nobody would fight Robbie. And Robbie was the crazy one.
Yeah. Did you ever find anybody?
Damn, so bullying motherfuckers. I mean, whatever. It's just like ribbon dudes in wrestling, I guess. But yeah, sticking pencils in asses, though, that's like, dude, crazy. This is like beyond rib at this point.
Yeah, but it really is. It's insane, but it's also like that's That's how they were. I mean, that's
I
just
know.
oof. It's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, it's amazing how times have changed. Probably
Yeah,
for the
right?
better. I don't think the boys playing video games is all that bad.
Maybe it's not bad if they're on their cell phones, just kind of looking at social media. Maybe it's okay. Jesus.
Duct taped to a bench or anything of that persuasion where the Steiners caught them up?
I personally watched them do that to Disco.
He ain't laughing though. This guy laughs. Buff Bagwell ain't laughing, dude.
They duct taped him like what's it called when your legs are back and your feet are back and they're tied.
Oh, like hog-tied.
Like hog-tied, exactly. And they were trying to shove a Sharpie up his.
So they hogtied Disco Inferno, and they tried to shove a Sharpie up.
You
his...
what? Is that what happened to his voice?
Oh my god, dude. Jake, what the fuck?
No.
Jake's a sicko. No, but dude. See, dude, even the boys are sickos. Like sicker than some of the sickos. Than some of you fucking sickos, dude. Oh man, that is crazy, bro. That's what Disco went to, and he still is like, nah, our way was better. Our way was better. I swear. Disco Inferno.
You know what? And I was just new on the scene, and I just remember reaching down as cool and calm as I could. I ended up in the A locker room like by accident, and I got my bags and just eased out the door. So I realized I was next,
Did I take it Disco? Did Disco get away unviolated, or did you not stick around to see the ending?
He didn't get violated, but it was pretty rough.
Rick Steiner's reputation was far from that of a good.
Oh, did you see him get violated, bro? They had him hog-tied and were trying to shove him. I mean, if that's not already a violation, I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, did you just ask him if he was hog-tied?
Yeah,
I think the answer
what
is
the fuck?
yes.
I love that dude too. He's on the Stevie Richards show, but it's like, bro, he was violated. That's violating him, dude. Oh my god,
dude, and that would follow him into the new millennium. Still beating up guys on even indie shows once WCW had closed. He continued to be known as the guy you didn't mess with until one day he came across a young fellow in Florida.
Uh-oh.
Vordell Walker is a name most wouldn't know, but to those who do, he is one of the most heralded names of the early 2000s indie scene. He had standout matches against many future stars and seemed primed to be one himself. He was part of the crop of guys keeping the indie scene alive during a time where it was struggling in a big.
Do you remember this dude? Do you remember Vordell Walker?
The name sounds familiar. So I was just baffled by how terrible this ring was in this last
I
scene.
know.
We're
It's just collapsing,
Jesus.
dude. Jesus.
It's like a Nerf ring.
Yeah.
It's 5 feet by 5 feet.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the one you fucking ordered to your house to get kids, you put it in the front yard and kids bouncing it like a moon bounce or whatever it's called.
There you go. Yeah.
Moon bounce ring. No, but listen, I remember the name. I wasn't overly like familiar with him at the time, but like when I first watched this video, because I think this dropped like a month ago or something, I threw it on, and I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, I definitely remember him, but I don't know how far his career got. I didn't Google him or Wikipedia him or anything, but shout him out. And yeah, he takes Rick Steiner to task, but like it triggered in me. I was like, oh yeah, I do remember this guy, but like whatever happened to him, it's just one of those dudes you don't think about, it's like, it's like the Wildcat Chris Harris, he just kind of disappears one day. Then you're thinking back, you're like, man, that guy was lit back in the day, but Who the fuck was that guy again? You know, not to hate on Chris Harris. I'm a fan, but yeah, he's just one of those dudes. So I don't know if chat remembers this guy or not, but yeah, in the early 2000s, he was just, you know, doing the indie thing, like, I don't know, all over the indies, you know? So
big break seemed right around the corner. All of that.
And he's like a shooter. He's AI Jesse Ventura will explain it, but yeah, he was like a shooter as well, you know?
Would change after taking a booking for a tag team match where across the ring would be Rick Steiner.
He's one of those dudes who like was doing MMA and wrestling before. You know, there wasn't like a lot of guys who did the crossover thing. Now it's kind of common. You have guys who are like black belts who fucking also pro wrestle now. It's whatever, you know? Yeah, back then you had like a handful of dudes, right? Like there was, you know, Severn, Shamrock, I think Tank as well for a bit. Yep. There was a handful of these guys, right? But he's one of them, but he wasn't like on the big stage, you know? He's like underground in both scenes, you know? He's not like UFC level and he's not fucking WWE level, but he's known around the biz, you know?
Steiner and Dustin Rhodes.
So many years ago, this is going back probably 12 or 13 years, like 2005, I think this was.
Scully Vibes goes, Rick Steiner hawked to it on a Sharpie for disco. Oh my God. Oh, that's amazing, Whitest Rabbit. Yeah, I loved Wildcat. I like them. You know, I'm a fan of like when Rude and James Storm are together, but I liked Harris and Storm together way better. Yeah, in my opinion. I'm like early TNA. Like I remember I'd ask my dad, can you get me the TNA pay-per-views like during the week? And he's like, TNA? Because to him, he's like tits and ass. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know? When I was a kid.
Yep.
And it was like, no, it's wrestling. I had to show him the trailer. Like, no, it's like the new wrestling, you know? So
total nonstop
I was like a
action.
preteen.
Total nonstop action.
Yeah. So, and I didn't know what he meant. I'm like, TNA, what are you talking about? You know? I was like, what are you talking? I was like 12 or whatever the fuck, but yeah, young Phil. Anyways,
at an indie show, this guy who on the indie scene, his name is Vordell Walker. Vordell Walker was tagging with Dustin Rhodes, and he teamed up with Walker. And on the opposite side of the ring, it was Rick Steiner and another independent wrestler whose name escapes me. Well, Steiner had a reputation for being a bit of a bully to some people and taking liberties with people, which is not a hard leap to make when you think of those old Steiner Brothers squashes back in the day and how they just fucking brutalized.
So like Rick is clearly being stiff with him here, you know, like if we bring, like, I don't want to bring it all the way back. Shout out Solomonster, by the way. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, so he's like, yeah, driving his elbow into the back of his neck and being stiff with punches, you know, I don't know, stiff forearms. We'll keep watching. I won't go back, but you guys saw that he's on him, and this guy's covering up and kind of shelling up because it's sort of like, dude, stop hitting me so fucking hard. Or like, stop like actually driving your knuckles into my face. You know, like
that was what I was noticing about when they were putting the slams down and stuff. There was no like release. They were like going through with them completely. No. They were slamming those guys down.
Yeah, they were
pulling anything.
It's ridiculous. You know, it's like you don't even got to do that, but whatever. It was a different time as well, too. Yeah. You got to do that because you got to keep your spot. You know, you don't want people to think they can fuck with you. Like, I understand it.
Some of those guys. Well, on this night, he had a bee in
so
his
here,
bonnet,
let's go back. Like they're actually already, it looks like to me, they're kind of trading. Like this to me looks like Vordell's like, all right, we're gonna light spar now, and I'm gonna fucking, you know what I mean? I'm gonna throw back. Like you're not just gonna, like, I could piece you up if I wanted to. Chill.
Steiner Brothers squashes back in the day and how they just
stiff
fucking
kind of,
brutalized some
look,
of those
they're
guys.
kind of like,
well, on this night,
throwing like a real
had a
kick
bee
there,
in his
and it's a
bonnet,
real,
I guess, and right out of the gate,
I can
he was
tell,
throwing
dude. Here
some
we go.
legit kicks at Vordell Walker. He busted his mouth open. He was
like,
was
now
kicking.
they're in a real clinch battle. You can absolutely tell, and it's Vordell going, chill, because I will take, like, I can, dude, by his movement and the way he threw that kick and like jabbed out, he was kind of like, dude, if it's really a fight, like, I bet I could take you. Sorry guys, I'm EFAPing it. Every frame a pause. Let's go. And just look at, like, Steiner's throwing some live rounds. I'm not saying they're his hardest punches in the world, but they're heating up. and this will happen in sparring too. Two guys, you just start heating up. One guy tags you, give him a receipt, and then you just start kind of throwing. It happens sometimes,
On this night, he had a bee in his bonnet, I guess, and right out of the gate, he was throwing some legit kicks at Vordell Walker. He busted his mouth open.
Like, this is them really like sumoing for position here.
Walker, though,
this is a real
taking it.
That's a real what you do, dude. That's a real fucking body lock right there. Put him up against the wall, and basically he's in control of Rick Steiner right now. You understand? So it's like if he's basically trying to let Rick Steiner know, dude, just chill. Like, I'm willing to work. I get it. You're the old legend who beats everyone up. But, like, I'm controlling you. And I feel like that's what he was doing there. He was showing him in the clinch for a second there and with the little kick and the just kind of getting his back. He's showing Rick Steiner, like, no, dude, calm down. But Rick is not going to do that. His ego is not going to let him do that. He's going to try and, like, take him down. And, of course, he's old. He's not in his prime. Probably Rick Steiner in his prime would take this dude down and smash him. But right now it ain't going to happen. And Vordell's letting him know, like, no, I actually can fight.
He gave it right back to him. He threw a bunch of shoot kicks. He took him down.
See, this is a
and
real.
Steiner was stunned because
Steiner's
he probably
holding the rope.
figured, holy shit, this kid's fighting back.
Pulls him
He
down.
didn't expect that.
Confident on top of him. Steiner's
Walker
gassed.
stood up to him.
He could have. Here's the thing. Walker could have jumped. He could have just pulled guard and choked him out right there. He could have just jumped in for a guillotine right there, and he didn't do it. He just pulled Steiner down and laid on top of him. It's kind of embarrassing. This is worse for Steiner. He should have calmed down. You know what I mean? Here we go. Sorry, I'm an MMA mark, so I'm just pointing out, like, no, this turned into a shoot a little bit before whatever Solomonster's talking about, I feel like. But here we go.
Wasn't going to take any of his shit. And it turned into sort of a famous story. Then there was a backstage confrontation, but this guy would not stand down. So when you mention the name Vordell Walker or type it in, you get a lot of those stories about the incident with Rick Steiner. And this guy is probably not somebody that you
doesn't
want to
even
mess
mount
around
him
with.
either. Look at that. He's not even worried about mounting Steiner because Steiner's so gassed. He's just like got a gable grip like across his face. He's got him in like a front face lock with a gable grip, and he's just like, yeah. He's like, bro, he doesn't even have to put his hooks in and fucking choke him. He's like, he can, but he's just like, dude, chill out. It's kind of funny.
Confrontation.
I'm a huge Steiner brother. Like, I love the Steiner brothers, especially Big Papa Pump. I wasn't like the biggest Rick Steiner fan. I'm not gonna lie. I loved Scott Steiner when he like separated and did his own thing. The Big Papa Pump. I love that. But yeah, Rick Steiner was whatever. Always knew he was a tough guy. But so I'm not shitting on him. But like, yeah, that's what it's like karma for being a bully. All those years, you get humiliated by a guy who can like knows jujitsu and shit.
That's usually what ends up happening. You hear that? What was it like? There's a Buzz Sawyer story that's similar. He picked on people until he picked on the wrong person when he was a little bit too older, and they beat the crap out of him. It happens to a lot of these bullies.
And guys, remember this whole time, Dustin Rhodes, whose contract with AEW is technically up right now, is on the apron the whole time, tagging with this guy watching this shit. Like, oh fuck, he's like, God damn it, I'm trying to get back to the WWF. God damn it, fucking. Why are you fucking up my shot? Oh man,
been lost media for almost 20 years.
And you can tell he's standing on the rope. He's probably yelling at them. Like, look at Dustin. He's like, you guys fucking work. He's like, be professional, dude. Jesus Christ. You can just see him leaning on the rope like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh shit.
Recently, and though many tried to downplay Walker's acumen within
now
the
Walker's working with him again. Do you see that? So Walker sunned him on the ground and then let him know, no, I'll choke you out. And then Walker lets him up and then starts working him again. See, I'm telling you, he just let Rick Steiner know, nah, dude, you're not going to do that with me. And then he starts working. We can work again. But like Steiner's ego won't let him fucking just take the L,
Until recently, and though many tried to downplay Walker's acumen within the industry who were close to Steiner, most infamously Raven trying to say it was all exaggerated for a large portion of one of his interviews, The footage clearly shows a man finally
Just tags
being
out,
served his
and then no one's going to disrespect Dustin. Now, we don't see what happened. I tried to research it after I saw this. I was like, what happened right before this? But all of a sudden, just a camera cuts, and we see Vordell, like, legit throwing Rick Steiner, like, over a table, like a fucking, like a movie, you know? It's like one of those movies where you get thrown on a bar, and then they drag you across all the drinks. And throw you like an old Western brawl. It's like sort of like that, not really.
Yeah.
But Vordell, like, throws Rick Steiner like into a table of merch and shit. And it's like, what the fuck? So clearly, it just broke down. But I don't know. I can't find the rest of the footage. So if someone can, let me know. But let's watch this last part here.
Shows a man finally being served his humble pie.
Like, see. Like, he's on all fours on a table, getting punched in the face with like Pez. What is that? Candies and fucking rolls of quarters
Finally
and merch
being
getting
served
knocked
his
over. What is
humble
this?
pie.
Yeah, a bin of fucking.
Like, that's like a water bin.
Yeah,
Like, there was
everyone
like
there
ice
is like,
container.
yeah, and everyone there is like, no, they really were fighting, and like he just got.
Just gets
My
get outta here,
personal
get outta
favorite
here.
part of the entire thing is at the end,
And
when
his
Rick is-
gloves are off too. He was wearing those gloves
Yeah.
to protect his hands before. Vordell's gloves are off, so he was really punching Rick there. Like, he's like, no, fuck this. I'm gonna bare knuckle you.
His
seen
wrist
trying
tape's
to
off
go
too.
after Walker, but is too
And then
deep to do it.
Dustin's like trying to, and then look, Steiner's just staring him down, and Dustin's like, come here, dude. You know, fuck, bro. Like, duh, you guys are being idiots.
Thing, and Walker just yelling at
Dustin's so
Steiner how
over it.
foolish his actions were until Rick is dragged off by Dustin Rhodes.
The best is then Dustin's little work punch at the end
I
there.
was just gonna say, and then Dustin throws a work punch at the end. What was that? It's all part of the show, guys.
He does the little work punch. And Rick Steiner just no sells
That's
it.
the best ending ever. That's
Oh
the best
my
way to end
God.
that story.
Jesus.
Dustin's still trying. He's like, if anybody sees this, guys, I'm still trying to work. Just get me back to the WWE, please. Just
That's
let me back.
amazing. That's amazing.
Though he would get a chance in to do some work for NXT Vordell's day on the big stage,
So he did some work for NXT. Okay.
hasn't come yet. Many attribute it to the old timers of the day being put off by what he did to Steiner and bad mouthing him, but you can never be sure. Please go check out the original video linked below as Crusher Bones finds
So in that video link below, it fucking cuts the same way. It just cuts to, you know what I mean? The like the same way. It's just the fight the way you see it in the ring, and it's the full fight though, like in the ring. But then it just all of a sudden cuts, and Rick Steiner's ass is getting beat on a table. So I don't
this
know.
piece of wrestling history has answered some of the most long-running questions in shoot wrestling history and contributed a great deal. However, one thing you can be sure of is that Vordell is still out there today, and he doesn't seem to have aged one bit. Perhaps his day is still on the horizon. If that doesn't come to pass, at least you now are one of those who know the legend of Vordell Walker.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was
Here,
dope.
that is amazing. That is an amazing one. It's so weird to see all these people my dad wrestled with. LOL. That's awesome. Who's your dad? Does he have a Wikipedia or something? Steiner must have been mathed out. Yeah, too much math is not good for the brain either. Yeah. So, Jake, what do you got planned for Halloween tonight? Hallows Eve.
I don't really think too much, honestly. No, my wife and I are just kind of taking it easy.
Excellent.
You know,
Yeah.
the midweek Halloweens are tough. You know, she was actually last weekend. She was in New Orleans for Taylor Swift, so she went out there when she was out there.
In New Orleans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a
I'm
big
gonna
Swiftie.
do some fun. I'm gonna do. Yeah, you know my girl is too. Who?
I think
every-
right. Yeah, to the giant surprise of no one.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was Grapple Vision, guys. Round of applause for Grapple Vision. Round of applause for you all being here, all Jake. I just wanted to tune in tune in, rather. I just thank you all for tuning in. I just want to tap in with you guys, say happy Halloween, and yeah, live show on Saturday. We're gonna watch Crown Jewel. Thanks for hanging out with me, and yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys with the sicko video. Jake, give me a DM. Love you all. Thanks for tapping in, and be safe tonight.
It is a fast-acting viral strain that infects the host immediately, and upon getting sick, the infected will become shivers and chills.
There he is, the legend. The man, the myth, the legend.
You can't literally run a promotion just for the AEW, what do they call them, sickos?
Thank you very much, TikTok and AEW. See you tonight.
Tony Khan started telling people there's no such thing as long-term booking anymore. It's week to week.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
We just secured the bag.
It's not like I tried to be a character. It was just sort of happened naturally. But it was never something I intended. It was just something that happened because the wrestlers asked me to do things in matches, and I do them.
If you run a promotion just for the sickos, you're going to do 400,000 viewers eventually.
Effing melts. You know that SmackDown actually went over and everything?
Yeah.
You know,
what's the point?
The point is SmackDown.
What are you getting at here?
That the DVRs didn't pick it up.
Did they not pick it up?
You know, mine didn't.
Let's get into everybody's favorite moment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week.
What would you like to listen to in your ears?
I'd like to hear the flute.
Well, if you'd like to flaunt your flute, then we can find you a flautist.
We have just secured the bag.
It doesn't help me.
Okay, so complain, but
I will complain.
Let me have my misery.
And when I heard that, I was like, what?
Thank you, fuck you, bye. Boom.
You got to run a promotion for everybody. The sickos can be the ones that buy tickets first and spend the most money on the merchandise.
Because we have just secured the bag.
But like, you got to promote for everybody. Then you'll have a lot of viewers.
I think we proved a lot of so-called experts. We made them look like idiots. We're not going anywhere. Tony Khan's not going anywhere.
You'll also be there on TNT. You'll be in 2 places at once. You'll be like my favorite movie. Time. So great, Pittsburgh.
It's not like I tried to be a character. It sort of happened naturally.
the best guys, Tony Khan.
Keep themselves safe.
I look and see it's not just me.
Jeff, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're 1 and 1 for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes.
Well, yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, you would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
Yes, I look and see it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us that stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. We call this problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk and we smile. We are the youth on trial. We stand, we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth on wild. We call this problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk and we smile. We are the youth on wild. We stand, we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth on wild.
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah!